Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to At the Buzzer Sports, where we talk all things basketball and football all the time. I'm your host, John Drummond, aka Top Tier Analyst, and today we have top 5 duos with the most pressure heading into the postseason. Now, I have about 5 people here, 5 duos here at least, and we're going to break them down one by one. And first, I want to start out with number 5, and that is Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. I think there's more pressure on Julius Randle because he has been known to be a playoff dropper, maybe like coming into the playoffs, he doesn't play as well. His effort is not there. Sometimes his effort is not there. Jalen Brunson, we have seen in previous years, the past 2 seasons, even with the Mavericks or the Knicks, to be a playoff riser. But I'm more concerned with, is this the team that New York wants to head into the next 3 or 4 seasons with? I mean, if Julius Randle doesn't play well again, if he even comes back, are there questions around trading him? Are there questions around getting a better number 2 for Jalen Brunson? Because Jalen Brunson is proved to be the number 1. He's proven to be the number 1 option for the New York Knicks. He shows up night in and night out. But can Julius Randle be good enough to make a conference finals run or even make the second round interesting? I think that's all Knicks fans are asking for. I don't know, I'm not a Knicks fan, but I think that's all Knicks fans could be asking for, just to show some promise to where if they really fill out this roster, they can contend for a championship. Because I think in a 7-game series against the Boston Celtics, they could take that to 6 or 7 games. Because I think Jalen Brunson can match the productivity of Jason Tatum, and I think Julius Randle has the talent to match the productivity of a Jaylen Brown or Kristaps Porzingis. It's just about getting there and really showing out. I think that is my biggest thing with the New York Knicks, because we haven't seen the Knicks be a contender in a very long time. I mean, this is probably the best team since that Knicks team that went to a deep second round run, or maybe it was the Eastern Conference Finals with Melo, but I think it was a second round run. But the most thing that I'm concerned about is Julius Randle and his effort. I also want to see OG Anunoby play better. I know Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein, they're going to bring that energy. They're going to play good defense. It's really on Julius Randle, and that's why I have this duo at number 5. Now, at number 4, I have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. This is a team that we've seen for multiple seasons fall short, whether it be injuries or just blowing 3-1 leads to the Denver Nuggets. I think this year they can go into the playoffs fully healthy. And I think a first-round exit can be very detrimental to this team. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say PG is going to get traded or PG is going to sign anywhere else. Right now, heading into today and heading into the playoffs, I would say PG is going to re-sign with the Clippers. But if they lose in the first round to a team like the Suns or a team like the Pelicans, fully healthy, James Harden doesn't play well, Russell Westbrook looks like he's still hurt, that this could be a really interesting offseason. I know you guys are going into a new stadium. You're going to want to have the superstar there so you can have more ticket sales. You can put more butts in seats, but how much more of it are you going to take when your superstars aren't leading you to any postseason success? That's my biggest question with them. I know Kawhi is more of a playoff riser. He's one of the better playoff performers this generation has to offer, but we have to see something from Paul George. We have to see something from James Harden. These are guys who have played worse in the playoffs. We've seen it multiple times with James Harden, but I think PG is that one guy to where if he is on a roll in the playoffs, this team could be very dangerous. I mean, we saw it in over the regular season. The Clippers could have the talent to be one of the better teams in the Western Conference, and they probably could be a threat to any team in the West. So that's my biggest takeaway. Can Paul George really be that guy to match Kawhi Leonard, and not even match him, but to be the perfect number 2 next to him? They've had the talent for the past few years to be like, okay, we can really make a finals run, and they just have not done it. At number 3, I have Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard. I think this is a very important postseason run after the Milwaukee Bucks lose in the first round against the Miami Heat last year. We really haven't seen Giannis really push for a finals run since he won in 2021. And a lot of people say that's very flawed. I'm not going to sit here and say Giannis can't perform in the playoffs. I'm not going to sit here and say Dame can. But when you give up a lot of your roster, a lot of your defense especially, to go get a guy like Damian Lillard, when you had a championship winning-esque type of team, you were the 1 seed last year, to go get a guy like Damian Lillard, you can't fizzle out in the second round. You know, you have to push it to 6 or 7 games against Boston. I think they have the top end talent to really compete with Boston at that level. especially what we've seen from Boston. Boston is known to play with their food a little bit, so I think Milwaukee can really push it to 7 games. But the Bucks are my pick to rival the Boston Celtics in the third round of the playoffs in the Eastern Conference Finals. It's just about how this team is going to perform. How are they going to look defensively? How is Damian Lillard going to look next to Giannis? I've seen a little bit more screen and roll when they play, which is very good. I don't know if any team has the personnel to guard plays like that, but I think this is a very important offseason. I think this is a very important postseason, and then we head into the offseason to see what they really have. At number 2, I have Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Now, we've seen this a lot with the Phoenix Suns. We've seen Devin Booker play bad in elimination games. He played bad in Game 6 of the finals, played bad against the Dallas Mavericks in Game 7. He played bad in Game 6 against the Denver Nuggets. And we've seen KD fall off just a little bit in the playoffs. I still think they have the top tier talent to go out and win a couple of series, but losing in the first round could be very bad for this team. They are the 6th seed currently, and they would be playing the Thunder in the first round. I still think the Thunder would have their number in a 7-game series. I think they have the coaching, and I think the Thunder have the depth to really beat this Suns team. But when we look at it, Kevin Durant is on a supermax. Devin Booker's on a supermax. Bradley Beal's being paid $50 million a year. You may not have enough money to re-sign a guy like Grayson Allen. This depth is one of the biggest questions on the team altogether. It's just like, how much longer are you going to keep this team intact if you're not making it past the second round? How long are you going to be able to do that? Because that is the biggest question I have for this team. I don't know if Kevin Durant's going to want to stick around if all he's doing is making it to the second round and he's losing in 6. Kevin Durant is known to be a guy that wants to win. He's going to put himself in the best position to win year in and year out. So how long are you willing to keep Devin Booker? Devin Booker may be getting tired of this because he hasn't had the best teams around him. There was that one season, or those 2 seasons with Chris Paul, where that team looked really elite. They were the 1 seed. They just came off a finals appearance, and then they were the 1 seed in the Western Conference. It really looked like the Suns were going to be a very dangerous team, and then they end up losing in the second round and then losing in the finals against the Milwaukee Bucks. So I think the Suns are going to have a lot of questions going into this offseason, especially if they lose in the first round. What do we do with Bradley Beal? Are we going to be able to re-sign Grayson Allen? They have no picks, so this could be very interesting for them. At number 1, you guys knew who I was going to put here, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I think these guys are, on paper, I think the Boston Celtics are the best team in the league, and with the talent they have in Derek White, Drew Holiday, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Porzingis, Al Horford, Peyton Pritchard can come off the bench and he's liable to hit 5 threes, and Joe Mazzulla has looked like a top 10 coach this year. But it's the playoff play. I think Jason Tatum is liable to have 1 or 2 stinkers every series. We've seen it against Boston. We've seen it against Miami. We've seen it way too much to be like, okay, Jason Tatum is going to be that top 10 player game in and game out every day throughout a playoff run. I just don't think that he has done that. Like, Boston has been known to play with their food. They have been known to play with their food. That Hawks series last year should not have went to 6 games. I don't think the Boston Celtics should have lost Game 1 to the Philadelphia 76ers, especially with no Embiid. You allow James Harden to go nuclear and they steal a game in TD Garden. Now, when I talk about the Boston Celtics, we've seen this multiple times. They were favorited to beat the Warriors, and they were favorited to go back to the finals last year, and they fell short. They lose to an 8th seed in the Miami Heat. They were down 3-0. They could have made a run to come back from down 3-0 if Jason Tatum didn't get hurt, but you are the Boston Celtics. You shouldn't have been down 3-0 in the first place. So that is my biggest question for this team. That is my biggest team with the most pressure, my biggest duo, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. If you guys like this content, make sure you hit me with a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm out.